Duper Remembrance in the center square. That's going to be
Ooh.
really, really interesting here.
Yeah, that is an interesting one because it's one that you can do anywhere. You don't have to like go to a specific spot. We might see the players go to different remembrances, but then both be going for that dupe as soon as possible. We do see kill a Death Knight and kill a Black Knight as two separate squares here, both of which can be completed, fairly easily, fairly early. For potential squares. Not a lot of the collection ones. We've got Cell Blood Fiend's Arm +0 in the top left. Just below it, we've got 2 Blessings of America. Those definitely could be a little bit on the early side, but also in the lower right side, we've got 4 DLC Talismans, 3 DLC Shields, 2 Kindred Cookbooks. I mean, if somebody gets off to an early lead in the collection squares, those are basically 2 lines almost set up for each other.
Yeah.
That would be interesting to see if somebody went for exactly those, because yeah, almost everything in like the top, middle, and right sides are more of those killing or slightly later game, not incredibly late, but just not rushable squares. But in the left and in the bottom, we see much more of those.
Yeah, and for everyone watching at home, by the way, the stars on the board is mostly like things that we mark as what could be potentially rushable squares. So if you see a star on there, it's like, oh, that's something that most likely the players are going to be going for from the very beginning of the match. Just something that they probably think is worth their time early on. And yeah, that row 5 is definitely very interesting. The shields, really not that bad either, because you can get the 2 shields and Shadow Keep pretty easily. You can either kill the Hippo to get those. Actually, no, never mind. You would have to go all the way around because of the Carrion Shield.
Yes.
But still, not a bad row. If you do get Kindred Cookbooks and Talismans, which I do doubt because they are pretty separate from each other on the map. But if you do get those, both of those squares, that row 5 can be pretty scary. I do have to agree with that. I am a little sad that we have kill a Death Knight and kill a Black Knight boss, but we do not have kill 3 Knight bosses. That would have been perfect combo on top of that, is having one of each, including the
we also
square.
have Putrescent Knight. It could have been like the perfect wombo combo of synergy.
Exactly.
If all of them had been on there.
That'd been really, really neat. But it's still, yeah, Revered Ashes here. Bellerot not really too promoted on this board. So I'm not sure if that's going to be pushed too easily here. We do have kill 1 each of Bear, Lion, Hippo, so that could play into that. And we do have Duper Remembrance. So honestly, Revered Ash with this row 3 here might not be the worst idea. And there we have it now. Match has started for both players. And let's see what they pick.
Yeah, there's nothing that is uniquely rushable here, except for maybe Blessings of America, but we can see that both of them are heading to the ruins first. That doesn't mean they won't come back for that Blessing of America, but neither of them saying, I'm going all in on rushing it right now, this very second.
Yeah, it looks like for CBD here, it's going to be DLC Talismans as he jumps up here and goes for the Blade of Mercy, and I believe it looks like Parky is thinking the same exact thing. Going to be going up.
Yes, CBD just knowing that little bit of a skip to get up just a little bit faster. Going to get him just a few seconds lead here at the start. Not something insurmountable by any means, but if he rushes directly there, could give him the edge to maybe snipe that square away.
The question is here is like what 4 talismans are the players thinking of? As we showed yesterday on the map, there are different options when it comes to talismans. There's like 6 to 8 different options that you can go for. CBD thinking about going for the Grace, and then turns around and keeps on going here. Parky kind of in the same direction. I might be grabbing the Scorched Runes, though. This might be costing her a little bit of time, trying to maybe rush those talisman squares. But as mentioned yesterday, we're going to pull up the map here real quick and show you guys what talismans they're thinking of going for here. So as we guys just saw here, the Scorched Runes, there's that Blade of Mercy that we have. Then we have the good old Ailment Talisman here in this village right over here. Oh, the map moved as soon as I tried to draw, so that's a little backwards 6, but that's okay. We have the Outer Gods Talisman here in Prospect Town, which is the Arcane Talisman. We have the Blessed Dew Talisman in the Church of Benediction. We've got there's technically a Dried Bouquet Talisman here in Bellerot that people could go for for as well. If they want to really push that Dancing Lion area, you've got the Spell Drake Talisman here in Castle Ensis. You've got the Magma Talisman, which is going to be a little bit down here in this little shack right before Fort Reprimand. And then you have the Fire Drake Talisman, or Flame Drake Talisman, I should say, in the Fort Reprimand itself. So you have, like, as we see here, 8 different options to kind of go for. So pathing does kind of matter, and like what you feel is most comfortable. Like going to Prospect Town for the Kindred Cookbooks into the 2 talismans that are there is not the worst idea. So grabbing the Ailment Talisman maybe, which is I think Parky what she's going for right now, and then going for Prospect Town into the Outer Gods, into the Blessed Dew Talisman. That's a decently quick 4 talismans there, and you're also progressing Kindred Cookbooks, whereas CBD currently going for the Spell Drake Talisman might then push that Magma Talisman and Flame Drake Talisman for his other 2 talismans. So the routing here does matter, but there is a bit of it kind of seems similar pathing-wise, which is cool. So.
Yeah, I expect to see CBD from here pretty much rush to Fort of Reprimand, and then along the way, grab that talisman in the shack, and then grab the one in the Fort of Reprimand, and that's the 4 right there. It also sets him up being at Fort of Reprimand to immediately get the 2 Blessings of Marika. So I think this line from CBD is very strong, going for kind of both of them at the same time. Parky, you can see, is also collecting those talismans, but she instead went for that one at the Ailing Village, which is a strong single one to grab, but Fort of Reprimand kind of has 2 right there. So I think CBD might be able to get to the 4th one a little bit quicker than Parky can.
Yeah, I think it might come down to execution here on this TLEA skip for CBD. And Parky not going to Prospect Town or the Church of Benediction, but actually going now towards Fort Reprimand / Castle Ensis herself. I do wonder if...
Oh, CBD with the glitch! The little bug where you land properly, but game says, nope, just kidding, you die.
Yeah, is that genuinely just like not a feature, but more or less like a... is it really just a chance thing, or is it just like that Torrent didn't register on the ground like he sometimes does?
It's that Torrent doesn't register on the ground.
Okay.
That is absolutely how it works. It is technically consistent in that if you always landed on exactly the same pixel, it would always count, and if you always landed on exactly the wrong pixel, it always wouldn't count. But as far as the human eye and brain is concerned, it looks like you always land in the same spot, and you just have to, like, look at it and sort of pray and hope that it counts you as the spot. A lot of people will do an extra jump or an extra little wiggle on the spot to make sure that you count. That's what I do. But if you don't do that, you're kind of taking the quote-unquote chance that the exact pixel you were standing on wasn't quite the correct one that lets Torrent count as stable.
Right, which makes sense here. As mentioned, by the way, those 2 little misses on the TLEA skip has Parky right now be right next to CBD, pretty much, when it comes to the progression here on the map. Let's see if she gets this first try herself. Does get the little mini hop here to make sure that her horse is registered. Chat, make sure to register your horse. You might otherwise, get pulled over. Never want
the
that
lands
to happen.
between DMV. You gotta make a trip there every so often to get your registration in order.
Yeah, these speedy bastards sometimes just go a little too crazy, especially if you give them those special raisins for more.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I don't think CBD did grab that Magma Talisman right away, unless I missed it.
I thought he did, but
if he did,
I may have missed it as well. I wasn't looking directly. But yeah, if he does have it, then he's 1 talisman away, and at the Fort of Reprimand should be able to get it. I can't imagine if he's rushing this square that he would have skipped it, because it's much faster to grab it on the way up than it would be to grab it on the way back down.
Yeah, and here we have it, grabbing the Flame Drake Talisman. This is probably going to be his 4th one. I think you're right. It should be his 4th one here. And then the question is going to be, what exactly happens next? I think Kindred Cookbooks is like right afterwards.
I'm expecting the Blessings of America, but definitely both are options here. We might see a split where one of them goes for Blessings of America, the other for Kindred Cookbooks. They're both very strong. For me, I would say I think the Blessing of America maybe is a little bit faster individually, but the Kindred Cookbook does have great synergy with Sell Blood Fiend's Arm +0. I'm expecting somebody to only go over to that section when they are ready to say, okay, now I'm also going to get the Blood Fiend's Arm. I've got some sort of a setup that's going to let me kill that Blood Fiend very quickly and collect it. And so CBD is going for the Great Katana here. And actually, it looks like so is Parky, that they're both going for the Great Katana. So they might both be thinking about, I'm going to get that Blood Fiend's Arm +0 first.
Mm-hmm. And CBD grabbing that Savage Lion's Claw. Going to be prepping for that Great Katana. Going to be doing what we could consider the Bushy strat of going for cold Savage Lion's Claw on the Great Katana.
Hey, if there's unique NPC invaders on the board, I think this is the correct play every time. I think the time that it takes to grab that is not very long, and the time that you're going to save on NPCs specifically is a lot. So I think this is always the correct play when that square is on the board. If you're just fighting bosses, I think you can absolutely get away with... maybe not even get away. It might even be better to just do the overhead stance, but... for NPCs, that Savage Lion's Claw is so much better than the overhead stances.
Yeah, I am a little surprised, though, especially with those collection squares, that they're not just rushing the collection first and then going for upgrading.
Yeah, I think it's for that synergy of you want something to be able to kill that Blood Fiend. You could kill the Blood Fiend at +0.
Yeah,
I've practiced
guess
it a little bit. I've tried it. It's possible, but it's not consistent. It's something where you kind of have to hope that you use the riposte iframes in order to avoid getting killed by the other Blood Fiends. And that's not something you'd like to do if you can avoid it. Oh, but CBD heading to Castle Ensis instead. What do we
going
think
for a
he's
moon
here
refill
for?
here?
Oh, moon.
No, he's going for
killing
balls.
Is he?
Yeah, I don't think
What
he's
would
on
he
the
count
board.
for? I don't see him on the board. Does he drop something?
He drops 3
unique here, an
magic
incantation?
grease.
Magic grease.
Royal magic
Can't they buy
grease. Not the royal magic grease. No.
Oh, so maybe he's got a plan for the grease. I don't know that I would think that this is worth it, but and then Parky going straight for that Black Knight boss. That should be a very quick kill here. It doesn't look like she quite knows the crouch strat, but regardless, this boss is not particularly difficult.
That's not Moonrathil, CBD.
That is not Moonrathil. That is not Moonrathil, CBD. That is the wrong guy.
That is not. That's balls, my guy. That's not Moon.
Yep, balls.
Yeah.
So I think we'll have to have a referee let him know that's not quite right.
That is. You know, we're talking about, okay, and Parky dying here to the Black Knight, by the way. This is definitely a bit of an oopsie. He'll have to unmark that. And will be sadly locked out of that square at this point. It's got to be the morning. It's got to be the morning thing for sure.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah, you know, it happens sometimes. You see a square, you understand, oh, this is going to be one of the ones that's in Castle Ensis. What do I do in Castle Ensis whenever I go there? Oh, I kill this guy. And so it's just easy to make those little swaps, those little mistakes when, you know, you're trying to rush. You're trying to just think about what's the next thing I'm doing. You're not worried about, like, you know, as soon as you come up with a plan, you're just thinking about executing it as opposed to, like, double checking, wait, is this the right guy? Is this the right thing? So, oops, but CBD still off with a 1 square lead so far. Parky still working on getting that Black Knight to come back into it here.
There it is, 2 Blessings of America. CBD did laugh there as Glance did tell him, like, hey, I'm sorry, but that's not Moonrathil, man. That's balls. I think
yeah.
Close, but not the same thing. A bit of a height difference between the two. So yeah, but here a Black Knight, Idrid going to be melted by Parky, going for some of those nice staggers. Yeah, sadly not doing the crouch R1 strat, but getting some nice attacks in still with those jumping R2s.
Yep, just a few more hits needed. She probably had a stagger ready, but looks like he's not letting her utilize it. And yep, just a few more should do it. She can get one more hit. She should get a stagger here.
Luckily, seeing obviously that blessing of America from CBD is going to make her feel more comfortable with like, okay, I can go for this and it should be fine. There it is, Black Knight boss for Parky now. There, a really nice block actually too. Column 5 and that row 2 being blocked off by going for that square.
One thing to keep in mind is the more that a square blocks your opponent, the less it sets up for your own bingo line, right? Because either it's alone, in which case it can set up for your line, or it's contested by the opponent, in which case it is a block. So almost no matter what square you get early, it's always going to be useful in some way. It's either going to set up for those blocks or set up for your own line. Oh, Parky living on 1 health?
What?
Can we check her PC? There's no way. That is...
That's actually insane.
I did not see any sliver there on her health. She is... Do the math. So, somebody find the damage numbers. See if she should have lived that.
And CBD going to be grabbing that gold horn tender from one of the Shadow Pot guys. Going to be going now towards Dane. Both of them pretty much in the same area now with Morth Ruins. Going to be grabbing some Skidoo fragments and getting set up here for their characters. And then maybe now going for Moonrithil at some point.
Yes. Well, he can't go for it now because I believe he is locked out of that. But Parky certainly can, and she is there at Morth Ruins. But looks like she's heading to Bonnie first. There's a lot of stuff in the backside of the Shadow Keep, or that you would need the backside to maybe get access to eventually. So, I don't dislike this as a potential early strat, but it is certainly not going directly for some of those collections. I was expecting to see a little more of the Kindred cookbooks soon, and that is what it looks like we're going to see from CBD, is he's getting the first Kindred cookbook here. And I expect the second one, is going to be Prospect Town, where he can collect the second one and get Bloodfiend's Arm +0 right away. That's going to be very strong. That's going to get him 4 early squares here at just about 15 minutes into the game. That is a very, very strong start.
Yeah, I'm also wondering, like, Parky not even leaning into Bloodfiend's Arm at all, not leaning into Kindred cookbooks here. Maybe she thought those would be contested, and maybe going for the Black Knight boss might be better. But that Black Knight boss, as you already mentioned here, blocking both of those bingos, but now is pretty much dead. Like, you can't progress a bingo on that line anymore, on either of those lines. It's a good block, but it doesn't get you anything else beyond that. So in this case, for her, like, if she's going to be going to Shadowkeep, those DLC shields wouldn't be a bad idea. But definitely the cookbooks / Bloodfiend's Arm. Oh, no.
Okay, she thought about contesting it, but definitely I think CBD is going to end up getting those earlier. So good thing that she decided instead to go here to Morth Ruins and basically just continue her setup. She might go to Moonrithil Knight now, which I would not think would be a great play. If you know that CBD is locked out of it, you know that you can say, I can get that later. I can get that whenever I want it. It's effectively already a blocked square, and I will only get it if I need it for the bingo or for, the last square of majority or whatever it is.
Yeah. I want to see the duping coming out here pretty quickly, though, at some point from both of these players, as it is center square, and honestly, not too tricky to pull off. I think if you go through the Churchwater District area, get that Grace near Emir, and then either push Dancing Lion, or you push, I guess in this case, you could go for Romina. Honestly, not the worst idea. There it is, the row 5. This is what I was talking about in the very beginning of the match when we saw the board, is that if you get to both of those squares, which I said was highly unlikely, but is now happening, that row 5 starts to look a little crazy, especially now if CBD starts porting back to Morth Ruins and goes for the Red Bear here, but is going to go for that Bloodfiend's Arm first. So this might be a Red Bear now on Parky's screen, going to try and go for that row 5 block.
Could be, could be. I might have preferred to see her go for the DLC shields, continue through her progression through the back of Shadow Keep. Even though it might not be the absolute fastest way to get one square to block, it sets her up for so much more map presence for things in the future. Whereas this Red Bear fight early on, when you still have low Skidoo, is a really tough fight. I think I've seen a lot of players that have struggled to get it on their first try. And so I would hate to see her get stuck here, because it is a hard early boss. But maybe she feels confident with it, because, you know, players have different bosses that they feel a little better with. CBD does get the Blood Fiend's arm here that I assume he's going to sell at +0. I don't assume he would swap to that. That would be a very strange play after upgrading the Great Katana. So CBD will probably be up 4 squares to 1 here in just a second.
And here we have it. Parky on that Red Bear, which I think is a great call here, but you are, like you mentioned, kind of putting yourself in a bit of a scary position with not a lot of Skidoo and not a lot of levels.
Ooh,
to
big
make it
stagger,
really
though.
comfortable here, but that is a really nice jumping R2.
Yeah, it looks like she's just comfortable with it. I don't want to do too much of a commentator curse, but, you know, if she's confident with it, then I think this is a great play. Does not take very long. Sets yourself up for eventual Bear, Lion, Hippo square.
Right.
So, yeah, good synergy on the board. And, oh, another bear. Another bear has joined. Uh-oh.
The little
That is not what
brother
you wanna
wants
see.
to hop on in. He says, give me the controller. I want to play. And at some point, that big Red Bear is going to kill him. There he gets knocked to the side. And there it is, by the way. Oh.
Yeah, the bear knocked her, so she just could not dodge the Red Bear's attack. But, okay, it's finally dead. Back to 1v1.
And CBD marking, by the way, the Blood Fiend's arm does have that column 1 active now after that, also that row 5 activation. Oh, and Parky gets grab attacked here. Gets that Rune Bear grab attack animation.
Bear hug.
Oh, has to be careful. Here comes the roar.
I'm surprised you can dodge that from just standing behind him. I thought that would
I
hit.
did not think about
Parky
that.
knows.
I was not a knower that you could just stand behind him.
Yeah.
That is.
I almost would have loved to see her do a charge attack since she had all that time from behind. But, you know, a few more R1s is also great. Another Frost proc. She should be, I think, closing in on another stagger, maybe another bleed. So just a bit more should get it. But the more that she has to heal, the more that stagger is just going to slowly drain away. So could be a little while longer.
All right. Should be getting. Yeah, should definitely get a stagger here in the next couple R1s. Oh, does miss, however. Has got to be a little careful here.
Oh, that roar is very, very painful. Yep, she's just got to heal. I don't think... I think she's letting the stagger kind of go away just to make sure to play it safe, which is very reasonable. Gets another bleed proc. She'll probably get one more frost proc, probably to end this out, and then I think that'll be it.
Still a really good fight here from Parky. CBD here not even going to be contesting the Red Bears. I think he's already assuming that she's already on the Red Bear, and instead is going straight towards Churchwater District instead. There is a nice stagger here from Parky. Going to be getting hopefully a Frost proc.
There
if
it
not,
is.
there it is. And it gets that Red Bear block on row 5. And maybe even to be able to activate that column 2.
Yeah, potentially. It's an interesting column, potentially. CBD, it looks like, is going for the Revered Ash, or at least I saw him pick up a few of those so far, including the one in Bonnie Village there. So I expect he's probably going to try to contest that, but CBD now perhaps having the lead on acquiring DLC shields. He's now maybe a little bit closer to the backside of Shadow Keep than Parky was.
And Parky here getting a couple levels in to make sure she deals a lot more damage. Goes for a 64 Vigor right away just to make sure that she's got that health buffer that she needs to get through some of these fights that can be pretty devastating, especially early on with like low Skidoo level. Make sure you can take enough hits. And yeah, it looks like they're both going to be going now towards that Emir. I think, honestly, if Parky did push Revered Ashes here into the Dancing Lion, that'd be really, really nice. That would activate her column 2, and she would work towards the Bear, Lion, Hippo square. And she could dupe on top of that once she gets the Emir here. And it's really not that bad. And then maybe go straight for Romina right afterwards. Block that column 1, but also activate that row 3 with that kill Bear, Lion, Hippo. could be a nice block into aggressive offense at the same time.
Yeah, that is a good point. There's a lot of synergy here that both players need to consider. Some obvious synergy of like bear, lion, hippo is kind of forced synergy. But
Mhm.
yeah, just like who are we gonna do for a remembrance if you're trying to dupe that? Because I imagine both of them are eyeing that square. Both of them are thinking, maybe this isn't something that I'm rushing right now, but I guarantee it's in the back of both players' minds of thinking, what remembrance am I going to do? What remembrance am I going to dupe? Am I going to try to get synergy by going Romina first or Putrescent Knight first? Or am I just going to kill something in order to be able to dupe the remembrance to steal it away? And it looks like that might be what Parky's going for here. She might be going for that lion, which could get her the dupe early on, which would be great, and get her the second of bear, lion, hippo, and then all she'd have to do is go front side, kill the golden hippo, or even one of the other hippos somewhere in the game, and she would have that square as well.
Yeah, and it looks like that legendary Ash here is on CBD's radar as he's currently going through the Ancient Rao base.
Yes.
Going to be trying to get that row 4 maybe activated. And also the Nameless Mausoleums, because there is Red Bear down here, the Red Bear NPC, who's hanging out in the Ancient Rao base. So this might not be a bad idea as well, because it also progresses that column 1 again, whereas only Romina and Putrescent Knight left over. So I think you might be trying to push, both of those situations, and I think that'd be really, really strong aggression here.
Yeah, if he gets those 2 Nameless Mausoleums and forces Parky to basically guess whether he's going to Romina or Putrescent Knight, that is very, very strong. So much pressure that he could put on so early, and one that Parky might not see just yet. I didn't really see it until you pointed it out, but yeah, that's a very good point. The Nameless Mausoleum is kind of the quick one of those 3 remaining squares, and then the other 2, you kind of force your opponent into either a race for one of them or a guessing or maybe split progress just to try to block you, which could ruin whatever plans they're trying to set up themselves. Also, as CBD does go to this forge, there is the Smith script weapons in it for kill a boss with throwing attacks only. Another one that he could be setting up for sure. So I think this is a huge, huge, huge play from CBD to get that legendary Ash set up for throwing attacks, and make progress towards another Nameless Mausoleum.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be interesting, because now that's going to tell Parky that as soon as that legendary Ash square is marked, that, hey, CBD does have throwing attacks with that Smith script field, so he most likely can block my column 2. I don't know exactly what then the thought process would be after that. Like, okay, do I still go for the column 2, even though currently I myself do not have progression towards that? Or do you try and push maybe something else? But as of right now, with how CBD is playing, these bingo lines for Parky are going to start vanishing pretty quickly, and this might be pushed even faster into a majority matchup.
Yeah, that is what it looks like, is CBD currently has the better pressure there in terms of lines. I expect that Parky's game plan might involve trying to go for lines, or at least pressure of lines, because, I think Parky maybe recognizes that in terms of raw speed, in terms of just the actual execution of, like, how fast can I get from point A to point B and grab the thing, maybe doesn't quite match up with CBD, and so she needs to have a little bit of strategic advantage.
Right.
With those lines and various things. So for her, no good line set up for her at this exact moment. That column 2 being the only one that she has that isn't blocked so far. And as we can see, CBD is going to have that advantage on throwing attacks. So she might need to come up with a new plan there. Maybe a diagonal. Maybe if she gets Duper Remembrance first. Or maybe even that row 3. As we said, if she gets the lion, then she will have perhaps Duper Remembrance and Bear, Lion, Hippo. All she needs is that Death Knight. Throwing attacks only, which again, she's a little behind on. And Romina, but there's potential there.
I think once she activates Revered Ashes, that throwing attacks only square is going to be really strongly looked at from CBD, because he already has the Smith script shield now. So I think as soon as he sees too much progression, he's going to be like, okay, I'm going to have to stop this as soon as I can. There's the legendary Ash summon from CBD now. Going to be grabbing his 5th square, 5-2 right now for CBD, and activating that row 4. As we know, he can't do column 3 anymore because of that Moonrathil ball situation. But at this very end, he still is blocking column 3, and also that row 4 really not looking too bad if he does get those mausoleums.
Ooh, is he heading for Rolana here, or do you think he's going for the incantation? Well, I don't know that there's an incantation here in Ensis, but
Um,
it
it
looks like
looks
he
like
may be heading
Rolana.
for Rolana. If he can do it hitless, if he kills a Remembrance boss hitless and then dupes it, even though he's locked out of Moonrithel, so he couldn't actually use that as a true line. You know, that is scary. Takes away a lot of the things that Parky could be planning for.
Got Dancing Lion here for Parky now.
Hmm?
I don't feel like she would go for hitless here because Dancing Lion, I would say, is probably one of the hardest things to hitless. I don't think any player really leans into hitless Dancing Lion at all, just especially because of that lightning phase, which is really devastating here. But
Yeah, it's definitely, if you get it, you get it. It's not something you would reset for.
yeah, yeah, I
Oh, she
think
is doing great so far, though.
yeah, so far so hitless. I think Gaius is definitely the most popular pick, if not also Mesmer. Those are like the two
Yes.
remembrances that people kind of lean into uh, for hitless squares. Although it looks like she is definitely attempting it at the very least. Very nice dodges here.
Yeah, you can stall out the lightning phase quite a bit to try to keep your hitless.
God, I hate the lightning
Ooh.
phase. Nice
Okay,
dodges,
CBD
though.
has been hit, so CBD cannot get hitless, but they're still just both, I think, racing for duper remembrance. They recognize how strong that middle square is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, both of them playing so well. CBD with the huge stagger. I don't know that he wanted the backstab there. It does a little less damage than the front. Parky still hitless so far, I say jinxingly.
Some really nice dodges here from Parky. Oh, she does get tagged
She
from
does
the
get
ice
ticked.
storm. Oh,
Yep.
that is a shame.
That is okay. As long as she still kills the boss and gets the duper remembrance, she's still going to be very, very happy about this. And CBD is definitely going to be, less happy if Parky steals that away because Rolana doesn't really have any other synergy other than duper remembrance.
Yeah, yeah, and for this Dancing Lion, it is still that row 3. So yeah, if she gets the dupe here on top of the lion, that row 3 is going to be looking good for her now, and then it's going to be starting to turn into a race, I would say, almost for Romina / throwing attacks.
Yeah. Now, I'm not sure either of them has actually gone all the way to Ymir yet. I think they were both just along the road. So there could end up being sort of a foot race for this duper remembrance part. But
Yep.
oh my god, and they are both so close on this. Oh, Parky should
Oh,
have the
there's the
kill
stagger,
right
though.
here. Big stagger.
Oh, this is going to be a really big
That's it.
advantage for Parky for sure.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to be
She's
grabbing
just
this.
gotta hurry and go do it. Where is she?
She's going for the revered
headed?
ash right after Dancing Lion. There's a statue.
Oh, this could lose her the duper remembrance though, depending on how long it takes her to walk.
Yep. Oh, okay.
She's
She's debating. She's debating if
she's
should.
just saying I gotta leave. She's just saying I gotta leave.
I think that's
yeah.
a really good idea. She's like, you know what? I can always come back.
Yep.
Duper Remembrance is way too important. Honestly, great call.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
honestly very happy that she made that call. Yeah, definitely. That's a really good idea here. It goes for a one bear already, has one Dancing Lion, going to be duping, and then she can go ahead, go back for the Revered Ash if she really needs to, and
Yes.
get that, and then go for, I would assume, Golden Hippo.
Certainly one that she could do. I don't think that CBD has shown anything to let her know that she needs to rush it right now, that he's going for that square as well. But certainly something she could do as a potential way to get a quick square here, because Hippo, hard, but not like as hard as some of the other things she could do.
No, for sure, for sure. But as we're going to be doing a good little dupe here from Parky, there is the Rolana fight from CBD, and we're going to show real quick while this fight is going on. Nice little dupe here from Parky. Very, very sick. Center square. That is a huge block for sure, and a huge presence, to be honest. That row 3 now looking really, really strong for her. But duping, chat. Duping, where do we dupe? There's so many places to dupe. Exactly 3. We're going to show you real quick on the map here. As we just saw, Parky was over here at Manus Batir. There is one little station. Then we have another little station right over. Again, I always kind of don't know exactly where. It's either on this ledge or it's on this ledge. One of these two. Over at one of the finger ruins. And the other finger ruins, another station, going to be on this ledge right here. So if you do get to the finger ruins and you want to dupe or remember to the DLC, those 3 stations, I know there's 4 squares or 4 circles, but that's just because I don't know where the other one is, will allow you to dupe in the DLC. So have fun finding them if you do need them. And now it looks like Parky is going to be going for Golden Hippo.
Yeah. Definitely, you know, as we said, it is a square that she already has some progress on. Not a bad choice, but, you know, I don't know that she's going to necessarily go entirely for that row 3, just because she knows that CBD has the advantage on throwing attacks only. But, you know, if she does manage to snipe that away, that's a strong presence in the middle of the board for sure.
Yeah, I think this is actually really not a bad idea, because this is also going to give us quicker access to Romina for Parky, so she can really even push that row 3 even more if she needs to. Already having Revered Ashes prepped also just in case. I don't think this is a bad play at all going for Hippo. You're going to get some more Skidoo fragments, which makes you a little bit stronger. The only thing is the throwing attacks only. With seeing the legendary Ash being picked up, you can assume, and Parky can assume, that CBD does have the Smith Script Shield in his inventory. Almost misses the drop there, though, from CBD. That was a little scary, I'm not going to lie. So I really do wonder, after getting Hippo, maybe she might go for throwing attacks to try and take that away from him, because if she does, that would be a really nice turnaround to activate that column 2 as well.
Yeah, honestly, I think I would love to see that. Just say, hey, I know that you've shown priority, but I'm not going to trust that, you know, you're going for that right away. And if she could get it, I think she would be in a very nice spot. A spot that maybe doesn't lead to the full line, but maybe it does, which would end the game. But even if it doesn't, force CBD maybe to rethink his game plan, maybe to go for things that he wouldn't normally go for, just to try to contest that.
And here we have the Hippo for Parky, going to be going for those sweet R1s. Sadly, cannot do any like big combos versus Hippo, as the attacks are very frequent. So you just have to like R1 dodge, R1 dodge over and over again.
Yep.
And CBD currently going up the elevator, getting the back section access to Shadowkeep. This is going to be really big for him, because he gets access to those DLC shields and also gets access to Mesmer / Romina areas now without having to do Golden Hippo.
Yes. So both of them heading into the Shadowkeep. That's what you generally expect to see in the mid game. Parky not doing the weird hitbox riposte there from the wrong side, but just taking a bunch of R1s instead. Into the phase 2, which is the scary phase. This is where you really got to worry about attacks just like that one, where he activates his golden spines. Oh, and that one, the close range grab. She will live this, but she has to be careful not to get greedy with her healing, or she can die as she tries to heal. Oh, excellent dodge. Back to
my
full.
lord, that was a little scary. That one needle was just a little too close, but she does get.
Yeah.
She's getting honestly some really bad RNG here.
Definitely
from this
very
Hippo.
bad attacks to see.
Okay, there we go. That's a good attack here, though. It gives her enough time to kind of reposition. Doesn't really get the airtime needed to get that jumping R2. Fire Serpent here picked up from CBD, by the way, for those 6 incantations. Going to be looking at maybe blocking column 2 later on if that becomes a problem. Just grabbing that on the way here. Once it gets to the Loft Grace, going to be grabbing that now as well. Yeah, this is going to be really nice for CBD, because that's going to be another block for column 2 with that base game boss and the base game boss in the DLC for Tree Sentinels. Kind of blocking that diagonal if he needs to.
Yeah, that is certainly an option. Not one of the fastest fights necessarily, but one that's not very far out of the way if you're already going towards those finger ruins, because there's the giant hand there as well. So, you know, could be a very, very quick use of some time there to set up for a square and another square.
I think this is... What? She jumps right into the Hippo's mouth saying, hey, you're getting too close. I'm just going to hop in. That's fine. This is not a bad attack necessarily. You just got to run to the side here. She does get to heal. Yeah, this is kind of interesting, because CBD is definitely prepared for pretty much every situation. If he has to do throwing attacks, he's got the shield. If he needs base game boss and DLC, he's got the access. If he needs incantations, he already has one. He's got a lot of board presence here for sure. Mausoleums, he can go for that as well. Like, I'm surprised he hasn't really pushed Mausoleums, to be fair, with Red Bear / the Night of the Solitary Jail, because that would have been really, really devastating column 1 to kind of deal with, because you have to kill ADM just to deal with Putrescent Knight, or go for Romina. You don't really know which one. As you mentioned before, it's kind of a guessing game. And I think that would have been really good pressure here from CBD if he did go for that play.
Yeah, he might just know that, if I set up for a bunch of different squares for a bunch of possible blocks, and if I just stop Parky from being able to get any lines, he might just feel confident going into the late game that way and says, maybe I don't need to push my own line, and just focusing on that defensive play. That is a play style that we do see from a lot of players, is almost ignoring the possibility of lines for themselves and just saying, I just want to set up for every single block instead.
Yeah.
And, CBD has been doing very, very well in bingos so far. So if that's the style that he feels more comfortable with, then, maybe that's a good one that he can stick with for this.
I mean, yeah, that's what I meant with, even the matchup Aggie versus Adef later today. It's the, prepper versus blocker kind of play style. Where Adef is a bit more of a blocker type situation, and CBD kind of showcased that same play style of like, hey, I'm going to make sure I have an answer for everything. And there it is, by the way. Very nice hippo fight from Parky. A little bit longer than expected on that one, but there was a lot of just bad move RNGs that really stalled out a lot of time. Not grabbing the graze here, though, might not be the best idea, but that might be okay, I guess. There is a grace right outside.
I assume she grabbed the one, just before.
Yeah.
It's only, maybe like a 5-second walk difference if she does happen to die here. So about the time that it takes to pick up the grace anyway. So I think it's probably the correct option to risk the not pickup in this case.
I do wonder, though, if she does think about maybe going for those throwing attacks after grabbing the first grace here, or if she's just going to be trying to make her way straight towards Romina. That's going to be an interesting choice to see which one she makes here. Trees Sentinels now going to be coming out here for CBD, just doing one of them for that base game boss in the DLC. Square going to be blocking out that diagonal and the column 2 now with that pickup.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see if he then goes for the giant hand in the finger ruins because he's right here, but he could also just save that for later, say, hey, I know I have priority on it, and, maybe in the future Parky starts to come towards it, and I get to snipe it and waste some of her time, but it looks like he is at least grabbing the grace here. I don't know if he's going to go all the way from here, but he's grabbing the grace to set up for that later, at the very least.
Really nice block, though. I think that's a really good read from CBD for sure. It's like, hey, that diagonal / column 2 is looking a little scary. And just to be sure that I don't have to deal with anything in that direction, let me just go ahead and just take this out really quickly. It gives a map progression anyways, as we mentioned. So I think this is a really good play from CBD as well, going for that block.
It takes out the second diagonal, so he doesn't have to worry about any of the diagonals. He does have something in every column except for 4, and something in every row except for 3. So if he just got Kill a Death Knight right now, Parky's locked out of all bingos. It becomes a forced majority game, or CBD still has access to some bingos. So I honestly might want to see him kind of rush that. And even if he gives up a square or two to Parky in the meantime, if you just know she can't do any lines, it takes so much pressure off yourself. So I might want to see him go do exactly that square because it is the one square that blocks both of Parky's remaining lines.
I'm not going to lie. I'd rather see Mausoleums here even more now because of that column 1 and now row 4 threat because of the base game boss and the DLC. He gets 3 squares in each line. That's a lot of pressure. So Parky either has to guess, okay, is it Romina? Is it Putrescent, which are completely 2 different locations on the map? Is it perfume bottles? It's that's going to be a really tricky thing to kind of figure out on what CBD is going to be doing next. I think that's a lot of pressure that could really benefit CBD in this case at this point. And he has the locations to be able to do that as well. Going to be grabbing the carry and thrusting shield here. Does die to flame serpents though, because that's an insane spell.
Oh well. Yeah, that is hard to dodge that many. If he does go for Nameless Mausoleums, I would expect to see Parky continue along the path that she's going and go straight to Romina because it accomplishes a double threat. It stops CBD's line as well as setting up for her own line. CBD would still have that row 4, but the perfume bottles line, I mean, I don't know. You could go for the perfume bottles if you're CBD, but it's not one that I see a lot of players rush or try to go for quickly. So it would be, a very late plan to say, well, I'm going to collect 4 of the bottles and use one for killing a boss, but definitely potential.
Yeah, this is definitely. I think just having at least the mausoleum play in your back pocket is always nice, just for that extra pressure. And they can pretty much do whatever you want. You know, you're kind of free to roam the board here and be like, okay, well, I have 2 pressured lines. I don't even have to go for them though. Here's a 7-4 now for CBD, grabbing that last DLC shield. I don't. Where was his first shield, anyways? What was that? I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
He just grabbed both thrusting shields here. It might have...
the Smith script shield, of course. Because it's for the throwing attacks only. Of course, of course.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, that even more of an indication now to Parky that he does have that Smith script shield by having 3 DLC shields marked. Parky going to be going for possibly a tree skip here.
Ooh, this is an interesting setup she's going for. That is not the spot.
Yeah.
I think she's looking for it. Yeah, this is not quite gonna work out from this position. Or maybe it does. Maybe there's an alternate, but that is not the spot that you would normally go from. It is much more to the right.
Yeah. Way more to the right.
I don't know if she's gonna get this.
Oh boy.
Yeah. There are a lot of setups that potentially work for this, but that is not one of them.
Whoa. Yeah. She definitely realized that too very quickly. As soon as she pressed the jump button, she's like, that is not correct. Just immediately quits out. But yeah, now it looks like CBD is making his way towards Romina. That is the wrong
If we have a
here.
race here, could be interesting if we have a race for Romina. CBD does know that all he needs is something in that row 3 to block the final line. So maybe he's thinking Romina is the play. Sets up for his line and blocks Parky. It is going to be a very valuable square for both players, and I think they both know it. Yeah, Parky does not know the spot. She may have to just go around at this point in order to get down, because that is just unfortunately not quite where you're looking to do that skip from.
That is definitely just a tough position to be in. I think just going all the way around Parky just is a way better idea. Like if you are this uncertain, it's not worth wasting the time here to try and get this skip now. At this point, she could have been already on the bottom, just going all the way around. That's not going to do it either. She just has to go all the way around at this point. There is Salsa currently on the screen for CBD. Ooh. He is getting closer and closer to Parky now, and closer and closer to Romina. As he, however,
he is stuck in the corner, nowhere to go. Just gets killed by the spinning and spinning and spinning of Salsa.
There is the masks on top right, so I guess he was looking to try and elevator bait the Salsa warrior or lady to the elevator and have her gravity die. But yeah, gets stuck on a pillar instead.
Yeah, definitely. I think CBD knows that this, at least his game plan, is to kind of go into that majority gameplay. He says, I don't necessarily need a line right here. So going for every synergy, every setup, every kill a boss along the way, I think is a good play. I might like to see him rush directly towards blocking that final line just a little bit faster, just because he knows that does seem to be his win condition, is blocking that line. But, I do also like grabbing generally things along the way. Set yourself up for that majority. Make sure you're not going to lose too many squares into this late game.
Yeah. I'm wondering what the damage difference is going to be between CBD and Parky now at this point. I think they're still pretty similar, as they both just have the ice cold great katana currently in inventory. But I do wonder who's got the higher skidoo level, which I think is actually Parky at this point, killing Hippo with those 2 skidoo fragments. Getting that salsa hat though here from CBD now, and also the rain of fire, so that actually plays into it because that's another incantation. So he's kind of like doubling up on 2 squares by killing salsa there, and now making his way towards Romina as well.
So we could have a race here. Parky obviously ahead currently towards Romina, but we'll see. That missing time on the skip could come back to bite her if CBD happens to catch up, because you just never know how the Romina fight is going to go. She can stall for a very long time, especially in the phase 2 where she has attacks where she flies away and resets all of her stagger. So we'll see how Parky feels with the fight, and we'll see if CBD potentially has a chance of catching up here.
Yeah, this is looking interesting. I mean, she is pretty close now to the not the altar, but the grace here. The main bud entrance, I think is what it's called. Oh, grabbing another revered ash here as well. That's a really good idea. I was about to say, why didn't she go the other way? But honestly, that makes a lot of sense. Grabbing the revered ash here, really nice pickup. I do wonder how many more she is missing. She did already go through Bellerot, and she got, I think, all of them in Bellerot besides the one after Dancing Lion. So she should be really close, actually. Does die to the Pest Thread Spears here, though.
Oh, that is tragedy. That is going to put her back only a few steps ahead of CBD. So this is a real race now to get to it. I think the elevator even no, I don't think she activated any elevators, so she won't have to wait for those, but still it is, you know, it takes away a lot from that lead, so she's going to need to play a very clean Romina if she wants to make sure that CBD does not snipe this away. She's going... Oh, I thought she was going to go to the left side now, but no, she's heading the same way.
Okay, yeah, no, the other way I think is still faster with that elevator if she does go for it. But now, hopefully, we have it to where she does not get hit by a bunch of pest threads / spears yet again. Having that dismount locked in is the best thing that you can do. You know, being able to dismount to avoid all the damage with the iframes. And in this case, she's just going to be quitting out, which I am not a big fan of because it's going to cost you even more time than just dismounting. And you can already see CBD is pretty much right behind her, if not now ahead. From all these quit outs.
And it also, the other problem with quitting out is it resets the enemies, so it doesn't guarantee that you don't just get hit again. Whereas for dismounting, you know they've just attacked, you know, there's a little cooldown on it. So yeah, Parky's still going to get in here just a little bit faster than CBD, but it is really just a little bit faster. As well, CBD got another incantation, I believe. So he's up to, I think it's C4 on his screen there. So he's very close to that as well. He could even, after killing Romina, exchange her Remembrance, I believe, for another incantation, is it not?
Yep.
The butterflies? Yeah.
So he's grabbing Pest Threat Spears here as well. That's going to be his 5th incantation. Then kill Romina, and he will have incantations locked in. So this is really important for Parky right now, getting that Romina square so she doesn't get possibly double squared from CBD.
Yeah, definitely. She really needs this. It's her last potential chance at a line and stopping CBD from just kind of running away with this square lead. So if she can get this, that'll be pretty huge.
Gets a nice frost proc here. Should be getting a stagger soon.
Oh, that is, yeah. She was out of stamina there. Could not dodge that big sort of triple spin combo.
And here it is.
Now in the fight as well. It's going to be a close one. It's going to be a race.
This is going to be a very interesting race. Phase 2 is going to decide a lot here. I'm going to say that right now.
Yes.
Yeah, CBD already getting his first stagger. It's definitely going to be a bit of a difference maker. Okay, Parky gets her first stagger as well.
CBD is doing more damage, though. He has a more offensive setup. I believe he's using the Blue Dancer Charm and some other offensive ones, whereas Parky, I think, is using slightly more defense. She does get that Frost proc, though, and Bleed proc back-to-back. Big damage.
Should be getting phase
transition.
2 here. Yep, there it is. Roll
out,
roll
she's
out.
Got to be careful of those butterflies. Oh, she's running right into them. Okay, she gets out. Whew. That was scary.
Nice damage from Romina to herself, by the way. Another 1,400 during that phase transition here. Yeah, currently Parky a little bit in the lead, but that riposte there with the bleed proc on CBD's screen really puts him in the same exact ballpark as Parky, and she does die to Romina here.
Oh no.
Oh man.
That may seal it for CBD as long as he does not die as well. No incidents here. He will have this square. That'll get him 6 DLC incantations. All of the lines for Parky will be blocked off. And, you know, CBD will kind of just have his pick of the board of wherever he wants to go next.
Yeah, I am expecting after Romina / 6 DLCs, the Nameless Mausoleums to be picked up at some point. If not, the Death Masks or the masks of the people in Shadowkeep. But yeah,
CBD has so many options after this.
Yeah,
he set himself up for almost anything that he could go for next, which is, you know, a very strong place to be at. He will not get Killer Remembrance boss hitless here. That is one sort of solace here for Parky is at least CBD has been hit a few times. Romina, not an easy one to do hitless,
Oh,
although
very
possible.
difficult. Yeah, very difficult for sure. All the butterfly projectiles, all of the instant phase 2, that stuff right there too, the instant AoE in phase 2 as well.
Yep.
That you can't like really prepare for at all. There is no heads up. It just happens.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, CBD here, not too far away now from killing Romina. Just a couple more hits should do it, and he will get this square. Yeah, that's a freebie right there. Gets
That'll
one
do
more
it, yep.
charge dart too, and that's it. Romina gonna be on CBD's screen here, dead, marked, and ported. That is really tough for Parky here.
Devastating for sure. I think that was Parky's kind of almost Hail Mary of like, if I can get Romina here, I've still got this chance with this line. I won't be too far behind in squares, but missing it, having 2 squares immediately marked by CBD, no more line chances whatsoever. This is a really, really, really tough spot. By no means is it ever over. There's always possibilities for, breaking down, for miscalculations, but it has to go to a majority now for Parky. She has to block all of CBD's lines, and CBD has some great progress towards a lot of those squares already. Throwing attacks, he's got the Smith's Grip Shield, Nameless Mausoleums, he's got a closer access to something like Red Bear, which it does look like that's what he's going for now. I think he's going for the Mausoleums, which is why he's headed towards the what's this guy called? The Black Jail Knight?
Knight of the Solitary Jail. They changed his name.
That's it.
Yeah, yeah.
Wait, they changed his name?
They changed his name. I don't know why, but they changed his name. It was Black
okay.
Jail Knight, and now it's Knight of the Solitary Jail. So.
Oh, all right. I got to keep up with these changes.
Yeah, that's the 11 megabyte change, by the way, chat, that ruined our bingo mod, was changing the name of Black Knight. Nah, it wasn't
very
actually.
Important. Yeah.
But imagine, that was like the only change, was just changing his name, and it ruined everything. Here it is, though. Member of Grace from Parky going to be grabbing now perfume bottles, thinking that that's going to be possibly the next thing here, as CBD is going for a Knight of the Solitary Jail now with the good old Ice Cold Savage Lion's Claw Great Katana. Going to be dealing so much damage here versus the Knight of the Solitary Jail. And making his way then afterwards probably to Red Bear. Going to be really pushing that column 1, and then can go for whatever he likes at the end of this square.
Yeah, I would probably like to see him just go for the Putrescent Knight to, finish out the game, end with a line, maybe not, prolong it too much, but he doesn't obviously have to. He could go for whatever he wants, and he'll know that he's pretty comfortable in probably winning this game.
Yeah, after the Mausoleums, there are still quite a few squares left on the board. He'll be at 10 squares, so he only needs 3 more. He does have access to the Giant Hand and Ruins Dio. He already has some priority on the masks. NPC Invaders still on the board, by the way, which is a little shocking to me, because normally that's a square that's rushed by a lot of players. This still being on the board in row 1. I mean, it makes sense the way the board has been progressing with these 2 players. It's just a little shocking, obviously, seeing sometimes squares, just like yesterday with that +0 weapon square in that match. We're like, oh, why is this still here? Just the way the board's progressing and no one wanting to really do it just makes, complete sense. It's just funny to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is definitely a really tough spot for Parky to be in. But based on Parky's own words, it's not over until it's over, and we still have some time in the match here to see a possible bounce back.
Yeah, definitely some time, but it'll take a lot of work from Parky, and I think she knows it. I think that's why she's going here, and she's saying, okay, well, if I need to, maybe I need to set up some more stuff. I'm not sure. I think she's going for the perfume bottle only square right now, which is a strong square to get, one that she can do fairly quickly, and sets her up a little bit for those collecting perfume bottles. So you don't hate to see it, but definitely it's going to be a very uphill battle from here to try to squeeze out as many squares as she possibly can as quickly as possible.
Yeah, this is okay. She's going for a kill a boss with a perfume bottle. Yeah, so I think that's there's those R1s that, oh my god, I did not see him charge up that palm blast. It just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, good thing she's got that armor, or that definitely could have one-shot.
Yeah, she definitely needs to two-hand here the perfume bottles, though, at the very least, because it does do a little bit more
Yes.
damage. I think she is two-handing
More
it now.
damage and, more importantly, more stagger on him so that he was not just going to hit you back for it.
Right.
If you're doing those one-handed, yeah, he's just
There
charging
we
a
go.
Palm Blast. That'll kill her. Yep. Unfortunate.
Oh, wow. Yeah. The perfume bottle damage is not as good as I expected, though. I'm not going to lie. That is not really...
It's not great. It's not great, yeah.
Did she fully upgrade it?
No, she didn't have quite enough money to fully upgrade. I think she got it to around plus 20.
CBD really showcasing, by the way, the crouching R1s here versus Red Bear was insanely punishing him after doing the Savage Lion's Claw. Does not get the pancake.
Oh! Yeah, taking a lot of trades, but yeah, he's already out of flasks for the mana, so he doesn't have a lot of Savage Lion's Claw left. But this one will almost take him out. Just a few more R1s, and CBD should have it.
There it is. Red Bear, 2 mausoleums marked for CBD now. Going to be 10-4. Just needs 3 more squares to win by majority or go for that Putrescent Knight. If he wants to go for Putrescent Knight, that means he would have to go and kill ADM first. Both of them don't have Southern Region access. And it looks like that is actually what CBD might be going for here. Going at Graveside Plains Grace near Tiolier. Going to be going towards Ancient Dragon Man. While Parky is trying to throw cologne at good old Dane. He's a stinky man. Using a perfume bottle.
He really is. And we try to clean him up a little bit, but yeah, I do really like just finishing off the squares or finishing off the lines when you're in the lead.
Yeah.
You know, I like that as a play here. You know, maybe it is something that Parky ends up going for as well, but even if Parky goes for it as well, and even if he gets sniped on it and Parky gets Putrescent Knight first, you know that you're still in a very commanding spot. So just saying, hey, if I can finish this with 1 square instead of 3, I do like that as an option. He could also just be coming over here for the NPC invaders. He doesn't necessarily have to go all the way through Ancient Dragon Man.
True.
So, you know, we will see, but it looks like he is skipping the invader and actually will be going for Putrescent Knight.
Yeah, definitely a tough position to be in. I think that early game kind of set the tone a little bit by only getting those 2 squares for Parky with that Black Knight and that Red Bear, whereas CBD kind of got free pickings on that Blood Fiend's arm and the Blessing of America, talismans, and cookbooks. That was definitely a bit of a tough position from the get-go, to be honest. Some good choices, though, from Parky. Could have really given her a lot more momentum. That huge pickup on Dupe Remembrance definitely gave her a really good presence on the board, but at the end of the day, yeah, losing that Romina square definitely shifted this whole match really into CBD's favor, which is a tough thing to kind of fall into. Is, you know, when you have 1 square you have to block or have to get, and then you just don't get that, it gets a little tough afterwards.
Yeah, that is for sure, and yeah, I think she did very well in the early game. She had some ideas. She got like a 1 or 2 square disadvantage early, but you know, that's not bad. You can come back from that until CBD started just going square, 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 right. Threat here, block yours here. And CBD really just played so incredible in the mid game. You know, I think absolutely anyone playing against this would have had a hard time with that, because CBD was just so fast on every single square. You can see he's almost getting to majority in an hour. Now,
yeah.
He's going for the line to finish it off instead, but an hour, 13 squares, that pace is something you almost never see, right? Some of these games do end in under an hour, but it's usually due to a quick line. But CBD just is getting every square so quickly, back to back to back to back.
Yep, and here we have it. There's the perfume bottles from Parky, by the way. GG's on her for that. Going to be going now, however, towards Ancient Dragon Man as well, which is sadly just a position you kind of are in. You know, you have to block that line. And so she's already a little bit behind, although she is going towards Elac River now, not doing Ancient Dragon Man, but instead going to be going through that Elac River that we mentioned yesterday that you can do instead, which honestly might not be a bad idea. I'm not sure how much faster it is. I guess we'll see kind of right now how much faster it is. And yeah, see who gets there first. If she does get
It
this,
is.
though, this would be kind of an insane block.
Yeah, this is one of those rare boards where Ancient Dragon Man basically gets you nothing. Obviously, it gets you access to Putrescent Knight, but it's not the only way there. Most boards, you'll see at least one reason that you really need to go through Putrescent Knight, that you need to go through Ancient Dragon Man, and this board really did not have it. So, if she does get this Putrescent Knight square, it's not over. She's blocked CBD's line, and she just then has to fight for that majority. So we've almost been speaking as though it's completely over, but it really is not yet over. There is a chance that Parky could get to Putrescent Knight before CBD and turn this back into more of a fighting chance for a game.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. If she can get there first, which we'll see. We can bring up the handy-dandy map again once more for this segment here, because it is a bit of a race to see who gets there first. So this will be very, very interesting to see, actually. The thing now with Parky is that she does have the Revered Ashes from a bunch of different locations. I think she could get Revere Ash Square, like, right now as well, whenever she sits at a Grace. Not shits at a Grace. I hope that does not happen.
She should not do that. That would not be very fast for her.
I feel like that'd be a bit blasphemous in this case. And CBD going here currently through the Crimson Coast. Parky would have to go all the way down this way and then through to try and get to Putrescent Knight, whereas CBD would have to do the drop down here. So CBD is already definitely a little bit ahead. But if we consider that CBD had to do Ancient Dragon Man and they both went at the same time, this is kind of the same distance, I would say, or same time consumed to try and get to Putrescent Knight. Nice little jump
CBD
here.
also setting himself up for the eventual perfume bottle by doing this skip here to get down to Putrescent Knight instead of going directly from the Dragon Communion Altar. Which, is a smart play. You set yourself up for multiple possible things. I might have preferred to see him rush towards Putrescent Knight, because having to run all the way back across the Cerulean Coast, whereas the Dragon Altar was kind of directly where you wanted to be in Cerulean Coast at Putrescent Knight, feels a little bit wasteful in time to me, but... he sets himself up for both. He says, hey, if I don't get Putrescent Knight, I'm set up for perfume bottles. I'm set up for throwing attacks, and he knows he's got a bunch of other threats that he can go for immediately after if he needs to.
Parky here going back to the Dancing Lion Arena, lowers the elevator, and then goes back to Elac River. I guess she's just not sure exactly if she should be going for Putrescent Knight or not, or I'm not too sure. But going down here now on the ledges, has to stick to the right side here, and is a little far away from Putrescent Knight compared to CBD. But, who knows? There could be an incident, especially if you don't switch to the Sanctified Wetblade versus Putrescent Knight. Your damage is going to be way, way less.
Yeah, is he even frostable, the Putrescent Knight?
No. I don't think you can do anything besides Poison Rot. And even that, I think, I'm not even too sure. He might be fully resistant to almost all statuses. Or immune.
Yeah. There's also always the falling section here, getting into the Putrescent Knight area, which we know if you do fall, loses you a ton of time, because nobody picks up the graces along the way. And so you have to be very, very careful, inch your way down, one drop at a time. Do not try to take, 2 or 3 drops worth, or you could take fall damage or instantly die sometimes. So CBD is taking it carefully. He does not want to have an incident right here. And it looks like with about 2 more jumps, he should be down at the bottom.
Oh, I don't like this jump. That made me a little nervous. I'm not going to lie. Like I mentioned yesterday as well, jumping down this watering hole, there is some gravity / elevation things that just happen in Elden Ring where you just your horse just randomly dies and then you die. And hey, that seems pretty jumpable, and then it's not jumpable because then you start falling. You're like, you know what? I'm falling a little bit longer than I expected. That did not look like that when I looked over the edge. I'm screwed. And then you're going to be reset all the way back to Dragon Communion Altar if you didn't grab any grace before that. And that just is pretty damn rough for sure.
Yeah, CBD knows this little bit of a skip here to go around the left side, so that he doesn't have to deal with one of the blood fiends. And yeah, he is making his way through. He's showing that he knows he's comfortable with this pathing here. So as long as the laser rock worms don't get him, he'll at least make it to the putrescent night incident free.
Yeah, that's going to be really interesting. Is the lasers actually? I'm assuming for both players, they do feel comfortable with the lasers at this point. They've seen what happens when you aren't comfortable with the lasers, so most likely both of them are just going to be able to get through it very swiftly. Parky not honestly that far behind. I want to say like 30, 40 seconds maybe. So this could still be a bit of a race on Putrescent Night as well.
Yeah, it definitely could be. It's not a foregone conclusion here. CBD obviously is going to get there first, but he has not gotten the Sanctified Wet Blade just yet, so he might have to go back for that. And he is taking it a little safe here, killing this Rock Laser Worm. I do like this one particular kill. That one just keeps shooting you for like a very, very long time and can kind of double up with this other one, so they're both shooting you together. So him taking that out is quite nice, and now he just has, I think, 2 more to get through. I don't think he's going to do the 8F strat of killing them all, as much as that is extremely safe. I think he's just going to try to roll through these lasers.
Sadly for Parky,
rolls.
going towards Dancing Lion just to activate the elevator and then leaving again, I think lost her a lot of, progress. They would have technically been tied by now, I would say. Going to Putrescent Night if we gave her that time back from the Dancing Lion pivot back into this. And I'm kind of curious to see now if she can get through the lasers just as quickly as CBD, as he is currently now making his way towards the good old Leonine Misbegotten that's just hanging out.
Yeah, I do suspect that both players probably know that the other one is heading to Putrescent Night because it's been a while since something has been marked. CBD hasn't marked something for, I think, almost 10 minutes at this point, and so you've got to know he was heading towards Putrescent Night because there are so many other things that he could have gotten in much less time than that.
Yeah.
He also does get hit by the Leonine and fell and doesn't have speed. Yep, you have to sprint for that jump. This is a weird one. I'd like to see him probably heal up before trying this jump and hopefully make it.
He's got to be careful that Leonine does activate, though.
But it doesn't see him. Sneaky.
Oh, okay.
The pause tech to get the sprint buffered so that you can get an instant full speed sprint and make it across. Beautiful.
What? Okay.
I don't know how the Leonine died there, but
I guess
whatever.
because like as soon as he started running, he heard the footsteps.
Yeah.
But still, I was genuinely shocked that he did not go for the Leonine just didn't activate just for him being nearby.
Yeah.
Parky
and so now
quitting out
CBD
here.
is getting that Sanctified Wet Blade. As we said, he's not going for the full Holy package. I didn't see him do the Holy Physic tier, but yeah, should be enough. Oh, he's pivoting. Where is he? Where's he headed to now?
Backhand blades? I think he's getting the backhand blades.
Oh, if he feels more confident on Putrescent Night with backhand blades, that would be interesting. I don't love swapping your weapon for a single fight. It feels like a bit of a waste of time, but if he wants to just do whatever he's most comfortable with, that can sometimes be your best play, is just making sure you succeed instead of taking a chance of not getting it.
This is giving Parky enough time to catch up. This could be really, really huge.
Yeah.
If she remembers to get the Sanctified Wet Blade, she could go for that with the Great Katana and without having to upgrade a whole new weapon. I don't know why you would do backhand blades over Great Katana necessarily, because I don't think either of them really matter too much, because they're either slash piercing damage, whereas the Putrescent is weak to strike damage, so it doesn't really matter which one you use here. I guess it's just, maybe it's more of a comfortability type thing. Not too sure. But she does get through the lasers.
Yeah, so Parky could maybe even enter the fight first. She does not have the Sanctified Wet Blade yet either. So I imagine she'll have to go back for that as well. So maybe CBD still ends up entering the fight just a few seconds before, but it's just a few seconds before. It is a race now, whereas CBD had a large lead before he went back for those backhand blades.
Oh, Parky has to make sure she has enough stamina here for this jump. Okay, does get hit
She's
here.
got it.
Very, very nice. Should be getting that multi-layered ring of light, which is probably one of the best spells, honestly, in the DLC. It is such a good spell.
It is an amazing spell.
I feel like Knight's Lightning Spear and Pest Thread Spears might take the top spot, but multi-layered Rings of Light is insanely powerful. And it's really good versus Putrescent Knight, actually, which is kind of funny. And yet now I think she's going for the Sanctified Wetblade here.
Yep. I think that's smart. I think you need it.
It's smart. It
does mean CBD is going to enter first, but yeah, and CBD going full holy, which is the proper play, I believe, here. So, yeah. CBD now with a comfortable weapon, heading in with a comfortable lead into the fight. But Putrescent Knight is anything but free. Definitely one that incidents have happened in the past. I'm sure incidents will continue to happen throughout the season. So if we see an incident here, this could be a big snipe from Parky. But if CBD does manage to get it here, that will seal a line, that will seal the game. So let's see how he does with this fight.
Gonna bring him up. I'll bring him up here on the big screen. CBD entering first, and Putrescent Knight going to be going for that jump attack. There it is already. One running R2 doing 1,000 damage. Does get tagged by that first hit from the horse.
He is doing huge damage here, so I can see why he likes the backhand blades here. That is big damage. Already has a quarter of Putrescent Knight's health down. So he doesn't need that many openings in order to bring him down, but got to make sure that you're not getting hit by any of Putrescent Knight's attacks. He's doing a great job of dodging so far. Already into that phase transition, Putrescent Knight enters the second phase so early.
That is very early. And now Parky joining in on the fight here. Let's see the damage difference. Does take... Oh, she's got to be careful.
Yep. Scary spot.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, CBD already being half a health ahead here. Parky not being able to get any punches in because she's currently dealing with healing.
Yeah, CBD going for punishes instead of healing. This is a little bit risky. One taken hit here, and CBD could die. He feels confident, though. Oh, but there it is.
Okay, this could be huge for Parky. She just has to lock in here, make sure she doesn't die. She is playing safe here, getting some of the rolls, making sure to heal. Her weapon does do less damage, though, but she is getting some nice R1s in. This could be close.
I'm kind of surprised by how much less damage Parky is dealing compared to CBD. So even with CBD on a second try here, it actually might end up still being somewhat close here between them. So Parky, you know, maybe has to both avoid the death and maybe get some good attacks in order to steal this away from CBD, who had the lead coming in.
Yeah, I guess swapping to the sanctified sanctified backhand wet blade combo really does make a difference here, and Parky does get tagged.
Yeah,
and now back to CBD.
Incidents do happen. This is one of the bosses that I think has probably caused some of the most incidents in Bingo. It doesn't seem like he'd be that tough because his health pool is fairly low, but his damage output is also so high, and his moves are so weird and unpredictable. Not a boss that many players feel super comfortable with. Even if you fought him, you know, tens, hundreds of times, it feels like he can just make up moves almost. It's like, I've never seen this interaction before, so you got to be so careful with him.
There's actually a really funny interaction that I found through the disc bounty, which was the if you stagger him during the... Okay, and we're going back to Parky.
Back-to-back incidents, as I said, that is something that can happen here.
But there's a really interesting interaction. If you stagger the Putrescinite actually during the horse charges, you can get a riposte, and the poise meter doesn't like fully reset normally. So when you like poise stagger a
Yes.
boss, normally, like let's say for example, it is going to be Margit. Margit has 80 poise. You go ahead and you stagger Margit, and then you go for that riposte. The 80 poise bar is instantly fully reset right after he's done being riposted. But in this case with the Putrescent if you stagger him during the horse animation of the attack, and you riposte him, he starts to slowly regenerate instead. So you can go for one more charge or two, and you get a double stagger back to back instead. And it's really, really powerful. But obviously not really something that's going to be happening, I believe, in Bingo. Just because you're not really punishing during those horse attacks. It was only really possible because of the deflect tier. They were able to actually make that animation happen.
Yeah, it could be because of the deflect tier, or could be because of the bubble tier. There are possible ways to make it happen. You also, even though his posture does not fully regenerate instantly, it does start to regenerate very, very quickly. So unless you can do a huge stamina, or sorry, a huge poise attack, you're unlikely to get the double poise immediately back to back. Sunflower can do it, but I don't know that that the katana could, and the backhand blades certainly could not make use of that, even if you did stagger him during the horse animation.
And Parky dying again to the Putrescent here, losing that momentum that she had again. Well, CBD is now 1/3 away from claiming his victory of a bingo line here on column 1.
Yes. This big fight for this fight, or for this Putrescent Knight, and
yeah, no, you're good. You're good. No worries.
And so they both have to just know at this point, you got to play it safe. You got to just make sure you get the kill. And that is what it looks like CBD is doing. No, that was a risky hit, but it should pay off for him. One more hit.
Yeah, he's got it. He's got it.
That will end it.
That fight do be fighting. There it is. That is column 1 here. GG's to CBD. Going to be taking that victory home here. Going to be moving into a 4-1 score now. Very, very strong
so
score.
far. And the only player left that is undefeated. So, yeah, you that's exactly where you want to be. Obviously, it's impossible to be any better than that at this point in the season. And so, yeah, very, very strong showing from CBD. Parky, unfortunately, you know, for her, not quite getting this, but you know,
my bad. Yeah, correction. 4-0, not 4-1. I said 4-1. That's my bad.
4-0. Yes, yes.
Very, very nice. Wow. Very, yeah, that was an interesting Putrescent fight between the two. Also, just a very interesting match overall. Yeah, let's bring in CBD. Let's move into the post-match and see what the players are thinking / feeling. Here we go. We're going to be in CBD first. Welcome in, CBD. GG's, good sir. GG's.
GG's.
Interesting board here. Can you kind of walk us through your thought process? And also, I'm assuming the misread on Moonrithrill being balls.
Yeah, I just thought I could get away with it, you know, just testing the
fair,
integrity of
testing the refs, making sure they know what they're.
Keep the refs on their toes for sure.
Yeah, when Glance told me, like, you know, it's on Moonrithrill, right? I'm like, dude, they look the same. One's just bigger. Like, it's 7 a.m.
Yeah, a little bit of a height difference on those two, but
one's 5'11", the other's 6 foot. It's
exactly. So when it came to the board here and kind of getting those early game squares, were you expecting to kind of get talismans, Kindred cookbooks, and Blessings of America, Blood Fiends? Because that's a lot of early game that you were able to kind of get for yourself. Where we kind of expected at least some of these squares to also go to Parky, but you got kind of all 4 of them. What was your thought process there and everything?
Well, I wanted the talisman square. Obviously, it's a corner one or a diagonal one. And then I was gonna see what she was doing at that point. She didn't mark anything, so I think I just went to blessings, and then no, I went to kill Moonrithrill, not Moonrithrill, and then when I realized that I can't get the score anymore, I kind of needed to block the bingos that she could get with that square, so that's why I went for cookbooks and the Blood Fiend's arm. And Yeah, when I saw that she marked Black Knight, I think I realized she wasn't going for those, so that's when I went for him.
Yeah.
And I saw some Telu synergy with the shields and the throwing attacks, so went there, and then I kind of realized that column 1 was uh, really fast if I was going for incantations, because I already had the Grace right next to Red Bear, and I knew, or I kind of had the inkling that she wasn't past Ancient Dragon Man either, so I kind of realized it would be a race to him.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's that Nameless Mausoleum / Column 1 was a pretty strong play for sure. It's kind of what we're hoping for anyways. But the Romina came before the Mausoleums, which I was really surprised by. But after the Dupe Remembrance kind of hit the board and the one of each Bear, Lion, Hippo, then that kind of became more of a priority anyways. Let me bring in Parky here as well. We'll ask her about her early game.
It's 5 minutes.
Oh.
Oh,
Hello.
hello.
Welcome on in, Parky. GG's.
Thanks. Hi, CBD. Nice game, dude.
GG's Sparky.
We're talking about early game here, Parky, and
Yeah.
we're just breaking down square choices and everything. And you rushed Black Knight boss here. Is there was it just a comfortability thing, or like what made you go for Black Knight first?
Well, I was going for talismans actually.
Yeah.
But then I was like, I don't know how good CBD is at this, and like I had a weird like start to my talismans, so I kind of like knew he was gonna get it, but I was like, okay, I'm still gonna try, whatever. And then when he didn't get that, I went Black Knight boss only because I don't know. I thought it was good to block off row 5 or column 5. And also, if he would get Blessing of America, it would block off row 2. But also, if I get Blessing America, it would work with that.
Yeah.
But honestly, like, this board was just really rough for me. And I feel like this is a similar board that in my opinion, I kind of had with Chris, where like, it was so sporadic in my opinion. And I couldn't really point out any synergies, or it was just kind of like every square felt like a solo square, or at least for the most part, at least to me, other than like a few little things. So I didn't really know where to start. And so I was just like, whatever, I'll just do Black Knight boss. And I mean, yeah, I don't like super regret that choice. I just shouldn't have died on him the first time.
No, I think Black Knight boss definitely wasn't a bad idea at all. Yeah, blocking those 2 bingos early on was definitely a huge thing for sure. And then seeing the possible like synergistic plays of the row 3 that you're kind of working towards with the Red Bear and the Dancing Lion, I thought that was all like really good calls. The Revered Ash was something that I was surprised you were holding on to a little too long, I guess. But it seemed like you had enough, at least going through Bellerot and some of the other like places you were going through.
Yeah, I mean, I still needed 2 more, and honestly, I was gonna go for it, but like he couldn't get row 1 anymore anyway, and column 2 wasn't scary for me. So like, honestly, I probably would have gone for that right after Romina. But yeah, I just kind of after the Romina thing, I just lost all hope. Honestly, I don't know if they told you about that, CBD.
About what?
About like Romina and like my incident on her, and
the skip to get there. She was not confident on the spot.
Okay, no, the thing with the skip was I didn't realize it was nighttime because like the sun was out. Like there was a sunset. That's not nighttime. And so like it's different. Like the spots on the ground are different at nighttime. And I usually change the time to day, but I literally thought it was already day. And so I go and I was like, oh my God, like I don't know what this is in the night, even though there's light out. And then, so that happened. And then the damn rot birds or whatever they are, those cum bugs.
Oh,
and then,
yeah.
Like,
Yep.
It's like the world just did not want me to get Romina that day. And then I died. Like Romina's literally so easy. And then I died to like the dumbest thing of all time. Yeah, honestly, everything bad that came to me this game, I deserved it. I did it to myself, but man, everything up to Romina was like so bad. And then because I saw you got it, I was like, damn, there actually might have been hope for me to get that row 3. Like, what were you like working on throwing weapon or anything?
I had the shield for it.
Yeah, I figured, yeah. So if I got Romina, were you gonna do that?
Probably, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I was thinking like even if I did go Romina, I knew that row 3 wasn't a guarantee, but I was still liking my chances on it. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was if you would have activated row 3, it would have taken off a lot of pressure though as well from that column 1 that was kind of building up slowly. So even if you didn't get the row 3, that column 1 not being a problem anymore, especially because of that huge, long distance putrescent knight, I think would have changed the game for sure. But it was definitely like just a tough position to be in, and then obviously both of you guys kind of having incidences on putrescent at the very end there made it very interesting as well. And CBD swapping to the sanctified backhand blades. The damage was definitely. At first, I was like, you could just put the sanctified on the great katana, like that'd be fine. But
absolutely not.
Yeah, the damage difference is definitely like huge there. Yeah.
It's the damage, and it's just trying to hit him is kind of hard with the great katana. Is
Dude,
what I found.
it was horrible. Yeah, I whiffed like every single attack, and I've beaten him with great katana
exactly.
before, but I guess like when you're stressed under pressure, you see how much worse it is.
Yeah, so sanctified backhand blades a whole lot better, I think.
Yeah, no, that was brutal. My second attempt on PK, I don't know if you guys caught that. Like the first one or whatever, like I died fair and square, but like my second one, I don't know what happened. I dodged and my guy like did a heavy roll or something. Like I felt like I was like stuck in mud or something. And then I died to it. I don't know if you guys caught that.
I didn't see that one, no.
I didn't
don't
see
know
the heavy
what
roll,
happened, but that was stupid. I don't know. Whatever. I mean, CBD, you played well. I don't know. These boards like this like really just get into my head. I was definitely my own worst enemy here because I was just like I literally don't know what to do, and then I was just like randomly going for things that I thought would work. What did you think about the board, CBD? Am I just dumb?
There was definitely I think a big gap between like the early game and the late game. There was some synergy stuff, but like I found it kind of weird. There was no Inirolim. There was barely anything behind Ancient Dragon Man.
Yeah.
No Metter on the board, which is really rare. So it was kind of strange.
Yeah, I think this was definitely a board where there is just like mini synergies, but not really like anything like really big to lean into. Just a bunch of like 1-2 off kind of square synergies, which makes it definitely harder to read the board or make the right choices. But honestly, those are the boards that I like to see and watch you guys play through, because obviously then you have moments of like, okay, well, I can't make a definite call on anything, and I just have to make a bit of a right choice and kind of progress for myself, which are, I think, honestly, probably one of the hardest boards to deal with compared to like, oh, these are like all synergistic. These 5 squares all work together. These 4 squares work together. I'm going to pick one of those 2 and like just like pick a lane pretty much, which I think is a way harder to kind of counter. So these like mini synergies, it's a lot more of like a mental game for sure.
And because of that too, I never knew what CBD was working on. I mean, at some points I could guess, but like I was gonna go Blood Fiend Arm, and then I was like, I don't know, like is Prospect Hound bait? Maybe not. And then he went for it, and I was like, damn it. Like I just have, I don't know, maybe it's me. I just have a lot of trouble with these boards, like guessing what the other person is doing, and also like making good choices for myself,
I think there is a bit of a balance between the two of like just doing what you think is good or what you think is comfortable, and then thinking too much about what the opponent is doing. I think at some point you can kind of get lost in the sauce pretty much of just thinking only of what the opponent is doing, and then you don't really prioritize what maybe could work for you on that board. But it's just sometimes a tough thing to get into, I think.
Yeah. But anyway, CBD, good game. I definitely worst game of my whole life. But it is what it is.
Nah, it was
means you'll do better
game.
Next week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, or tomorrow against MPT.
Oh, right. I forgot. Yeah. Right.
That will be really good.
Nah, it'll be good. I think sometimes these matches are like also a little bit necessary to kind of like just get them out of the way, and then you can feel better about the next one. It was still a good showcase, though. It was not a horrible match. It was still a good showcase. You did some really good boss fights. So like I really wouldn't worry about it. Like it's not a horrible performance, and great performance from CBD here too. Honestly, because you were prepped for everything, CBD, and I think that was like a really good thing on your end is just having a little bit of everything in each line. having some progression for Shadow Keep for the DLC shields, having, you know, legendary Ash Summon so you can get the throwing attacks, making sure that you have that blocked, having upgrades for mausoleums just in case you needed that. Like you're prepped for pretty much every single line just in case you do get blocked or you do get sniped. You had a bit of a fallback plan, and I think that definitely helped out a lot. Especially when it came to like the late game and just creating more pressure. So that was, you know, props to you for that for sure on that as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no problem, man. But with that being said, guys, GG's. Good luck, Parky, tomorrow. CBD, are you playing tomorrow?
I do not think I play until next week.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
best of luck, Parky, tomorrow versus your match against NPT. And then CBD, good luck next week on your match there. And thanks so much for playing today, guys. I really do appreciate it. And I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, okay?
Thanks, guys.
All right, see ya,
GG again,
bye-bye.
CBD.
GG's Parky.
Bye.
Bye-bye.